Hey everyone out there, this is Scott Reece and we have Rob Cardosi. Rob, my friend, how are you?
I'm doing great, brother. How you doing today?
I am doing well. I just want to welcome everyone to the new show is called A Rabbit Hole with Cardosi and Reece. That is Rob Cardosi, Scott Reece here. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to talk about jumping down a rabbit hole. It could be a band, it could be a song, it could be anything to do with music, or it doesn't even have to do with music. What we want to do is we just want to take a deep dive. Hopefully, you guys are going to enjoy it. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about lots of things that are going on in the world, opinions, good opinions, bad opinions, and we're just going to let it all hang out. What do you think about that, Rob?
I think that's great, man. I think one of the greatest things in the world is everybody's got to have an opinion, and no opinion is actually right. The way I've looked at it over the years, I've learned you got your opinion, you got their opinion, and somewhere in the middle is the truth.
Agreed, 100%. So, Rob Cardosi, tell me about yourself, my friend. Now, you and I met at the NAM show, and we also met at Jeff Young's. No, first we met at Jeff Young.
Yeah, we met.
That's right.
At backstage bar and billiards.
That is right. And I met you when you were doing some promotion for a band, and we became friends. We started talking. I love your daughter's band too. Now,
thank you.
And Rob, tell me about yourself. Now, I know you have you have a history in the music business. So why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, I've been in the music business for 35 years.
Wow.
Actually going on 40 if you want to get technical about it, in different aspects all around. I've been a musician. I've been a promoter. I've built guitars.
Yes.
So in some way, in some form, all my life, all I've ever wanted to do was be in the entertainment business, and that's how I did it. I worked for Ace Frehley for a little while. I was working with Brittany Fox for a little while. So that's basically what I did. My whole life it's always been about music or entertaining people. And I love it, and I wouldn't change it for the world. My daughter follows in my footsteps, and, nothing like being a proud father and watching that happen and everything like that. I think that's one of the main reasons me and you hit it off so well, when we first met, was we started talking about the music industry and stuff like that.
Yes.
So, and then we found out through the time here that we got a lot more in common than just that. So I'm glad that we've decided to make this happen. And I'm glad and I'm loving inviting everybody to join us down the rabbit hole.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I mean, a rabbit hole could mean anything. It could mean let's jump down the Metallica rabbit hole, or let's jump down Led Zeppelin, or the death of Keith Moon, or the that's the fun part. And then if you learn something, that's even better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like me and you were talking about, you never know what's going to come out of these two jugheads' mouths.
That is very true. But I think that's the fun part of it, because you could have 5 people in a room and everyone is going to have a different perspective, a different opinion, a different belief, a different. And what we want to do is bring it all out in a civil manner. We're not arguing. We're not bringing on people to disagree or agree. We're just giving you something to think about.
Right, exactly. That's what it is. I hate the fact that through the years everything has started to change, and people are becoming more and more of robots, and they go by opinions that they're told, and they don't make their own decision. We're giving you the chance at our show to take a look at all the aspects of everything and make your own informative decision yourself.
That's right.
And we're not here to tell you this is what is right or what is wrong. It's look at it and you tell us what you think. And we're very, very excited to hear your opinions too, and let you hear ours.
Exactly. Because everything has become so polarized. If I disagree with you, I'm gonna yell and scream at you, and you know what I mean. It's not like that. And and
Yeah, don't.
and to me, when you are having a discussion about whatever, and someone calls you a name, someone calls screams and yells and gets all hysterical, you just won. They just lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They lost because you just can't go, I disagree with you because ba 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 ba. And they come
right.
back and go, oh my God, I can't believe it's like, no, we're just disagreeing like people used to do, you know?
Right, exactly.
And I think a lot of the discord that we have is back when I was growing up, if you talked crap to somebody, you get punched in the nose. Now you have
Yeah,
the keyboard warriors just going blah, 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 and if it's different.
yeah, it's a lot different. You got, like you said, you got people hiding behind a keyboard, where back in the day you talked something bad towards us, we found you and we settled it right then and there.
That's right.
But it's like we were talking about the other day, that everything's changing. The music industry, the just population period, you're coming out with all these different cancel culture, and I'm better than you, and I don't agree with you, so you need to leave.
Right.
No, that ain't what it's all about. It's like I said a little while ago. Yeah, I got my opinion, you got yours, and somewhere in the middle is the truth.
Agreed.
Because it all comes down to, you ever. I think me and you were talking about it one day. You remember the old that old Liberty Valance syndrome?
No.
That was, history was always told by the winners.
True. And
So
create, yes, that is
Yeah.
100%. 100%. And
they call it the Liberty Valance effect, because it was his story, but that wasn't necessarily true. But since he won the whole thing, his story got published.
well, yeah.
You know,
The winner of the war gets to basically rewrite history, correct?
right? Like, I remember I used to have a teacher back in high school. He was talking about, you're told about Paul Revere's ride, right? Well, he only rode like 20 miles. There was another rider named Adrian Bissell who rode 150 miles.
Why don't we know his name? Why isn't
Yeah,
his name?
we don't know his name because he wasn't friends with Benjamin Franklin.
I did not know that.
So he knew the person of influence, so his name got out there more than Adrian Bissell.
And what were we talking about? Oh, your name is Mud. I thought that was pretty interesting. Go ahead. Tell me.
The story behind how we got the saying "your name is Mud" is because there was a conspirator named Dr. Mudd that helped John Wilkes Booth. He repaired his leg after he shot President Lincoln.
Really?
And now he was not necessarily a conspirator. He just happened to be a doctor that John Wilkes Booth went to, and he fixed his leg and had told him to move on. But people found out he fixed his leg, so he was considered a traitor.
Wow.
So that's where the saying "your name is Mud" came from.
Oh, I thought it came from Primus. I thought that was my name is Mud. No, okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So, you definitely made a mark in the music business. Why don't you talk about your past with the band Brittany Fox?
There's not a whole lot to say with that, really. I was only in the band for a very short time.
Oh, okay.
And back then it was when it was weird. You didn't have to pay your dues back then. The bands were put together by record companies.
Really?
It wasn't like what do you call it? Like in the day where like Mick Jagger and Keith got together and they went through and they found their friends and they became a band. No, I actually remember being offered the gig to go play with them and never meeting these guys until our first day.
Really?
And the record company is like, "You're a band." And you're like, "Okay." And then like, "Here's the songs you're going to play. You don't need to write your own." But back in the day, you could write your own songs and you could play what you wanted to play, and you paid your dues, struggling and everything like that. where back in the mid '80s and stuff like that, the companies were buying everything
Wow.
for the bands.
So they would put that together. You would just go, here's the tunes you're going to play. Here's your singer. Here's your bass player. Here's your guitar player. Get together, and here are the songs you're going to be playing. And if so, I see why the hair metal bands just kind of went to the wayside, and then grunge came in.
Yeah, because they were more of the, we're not going to conform to what the companies want us to do. It's like, back in the '80s and stuff like that, it was a little known fact that most companies bought your Grammys for you. They would go to MTV and say, here, play this video repeatedly and we'll pay you for it. Well, they would get you so saturated and everything out there that's how they decided if you were going to win a Grammy or not.
And this is what we call jumping down the rabbit hole right here, guys, because this is stuff that I don't know. I've been in the music business for a while, and I never knew that. You know what I mean?
Right. And it's just like back in the early days of Hollywood and everything, going back to like the silent era, and Hollywood came up with the idea for the Walk of Fame, right?
Yes.
You had to earn your star,
right?
And this like that. Nowadays, you can go to the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, pay $25,000, and if they vote you in, you can have your own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
And the $25,000 is just keep it clean, right?
That's supposedly to care for it for the rest of its life, the rest of existence. So if it cracks or whatever, they'll fix it. Wow. Yeah, so they figure they charge you $25,000 to do that. So it's the prestige is gone.
Wow.
So like you tell somebody, hey, I got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's like, okay, yeah, right. Well, that's great. You're also out $25,000.
Yeah, like the consideration to be nominated for a Grammy, you can purchase that also for $5,000.
Yes, yeah, you can do that.
Yep.
Yep. Well, it's like back in the day. You remember when we used to go to the record stores and buy a record.
Yes.
Or a CD or cassette or whatever, that went towards the number. And then when they sold 1 million copies, you got or 500,000 copies, you got your gold. At 1 million, you got your platinum. When you got 5 platinums, you went diamond. And nowadays, when I first wanted to be a musician, it was like, hey, I want a platinum album. We're going to bust ass and we're going to get a platinum album. Now it's how many listens you have or how many plays you have. How does that determine if you get a platinum album?
True. All right. Yeah. All right, guys. We are going to talk about that right on the other side of this break. This is our sponsor. This is Otel Music Videos. You're listening and watching. And you soon will be watching The Rabbit Hole with Scott Reece and Rob Cardosi. This is Otel.
Trevor and Eileen build of ordinary to extraordinary life have created, produced, and managed the largest, at this time, all-original indie music Roku channel, Otel Music Videos. They love to give back to help others be seen and heard for their life legacy. They welcome new submissions from a variety of genres. Visit their website, www.oteluniverse.com. Click on the Musicians Alliance tab. On the drop-down, click on the Exclusive Offers for Musicians tab. Complete the submission video form. Roku is seen in 160 countries and has a viewership of over 80 million active accounts worldwide. Be sure to add their channel to your Roku menu, watch, and give them a 5-star.
And we want to thank Otel Music Videos on Roku TV for sponsoring our show, The Rabbit Hole with Cardosi and Reece. All right, guys, welcome back. We are talking about basically the music business, how it's changed, basically, that from when we used to be Utes, when you and I were Utes, we would wait every month for a magazine. We would wait for Hit Parade or Cream, Rolling Stone. We wouldn't know what David Lee Roth had for breakfast this morning. You know, you could go on his blog. We could go on, you know, Metallica's, you know, whatever they're doing, which is great. And everybody wants that info. But back when we grew up, it was like, did you hear about that? And you'd have to hear it through a friend or, you know, and it's so different now.
Yeah, it is. It's really different. I mean, when we would get I looked forward to every month. I had a subscription to Hit Parader and Circus Magazine, and I just couldn't wait till they came out. Nowadays, you just go online and say, "Hey, type in that person's name," and there they are. You know,
look what he's doing today. He's at the park with his dog. Oh, good. There's that metal singer is, you know, out hanging out with his dog, it's great. But back in the day, there was such a mystique. You know, like with Kiss, back when they came, no one saw them without makeup. No one, you know, and that was a cool thing. And now I think TMI, there's TMI on everything. I think we're overloaded.
Yeah, exactly. I enjoyed the fact that, you know, you didn't know everything about them. And to like, I don't know if it was like this with you, but it was like Eddie Van Halen was a god to me.
Oh my. Yes.
Because, you know, the way he played. And nowadays you can see that he's just a normal person.
Right.
You know, we used to all go, I remember going, and the first time I saw the Def Leppard video for Pyromania, and I saw Joe Elliott wearing all those ripped up jeans. So I was like, oh, I got to do that.
I got to get the ripped up jeans. Well, I mean, you know, MTV just like guided culture. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
Just like you said.
You know, remember, like, we were talking Headbangers Ball. Sometimes that was the first vision I ever saw
of a band.
Of a band. The first time I ever saw Slayer and I was like, oh my God, these guys are awesome. You know, and now it's just, you just type it into a search bar and they'll bring up everything and everything.
I mean, how does an artist make money nowadays? I mean, back then you made an album, you had, you know, your name was, you got royalties, you got all that stuff. You try to sell your album. Okay, great. Now bands are like, I'm going to put a video out on TikTok and I'm going to get 2 million hits. I don't have to tour. I have a built-in audience right now, and I can make money. I can make money playing in my bedroom. Yeah. Instead of paying your dues.
Exactly. You know, but I will say this much. There are some bands out there that they did it right off the bat, you know, doing that, and are actually doing very well in touring. Like, for instance, I don't know if you know or have heard of Small Town Titans.
No.
They got famous because first of all, their singer has a magnificent voice. And they did a thing where it was the remake of The Grinch.
Okay.
The song from How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and phenomenal. They ended up getting, within the first 2 weeks, like 2 million views on YouTube.
Wow.
And then a record company happened to see them and offered them a record contract. They were just 3 guys from college recording a song in their basement. You know, and that's another thing that's kind of helped the music industry, but it kind of hurt the music industry at the same time. You don't have to worry about going to a recording studio anymore. You can do everything at your own home. Hell, you can do it on a phone, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
You know, so you're saving money in the long run. I remember my first band that I had, us saving for months trying to get enough time to go in and spend 4 hours in a recording studio at $70 an hour.
Right.
You know, and now you just do it on your phone. I mean, I can't remember the name of the video, but I had heard that Lady Gaga recorded a whole video on an iPhone.
Wow. Well, I mean, think of the technology that is in an iPhone has more technology than, well, the first thing they kind of maybe went to the moon.
Yeah.
Has more.
Still want to know why I can't sit on my phone and fly to the moon then.
No, I think there's a lot of things that happened or whatever are either true or false, and there's no middle ground in in that. I think
Right.
that's a whole nother subject. We'll jump down that rabbit hole at another time.
Oh yes, definitely.
So I think the music business is somebody's making money, because people that put their stuff on Spotify and all that, they don't really, they're not making any money. Somebody
Right.
is.
Well, Spotify's making their money because off of the people that pay the monthly fee to play it. So but they
Subscription.
off their subscriptions from people. That's how they make their money.
Right.
And really it doesn't take a whole lot of people to maintain some servers. And that's all it really is. But like, for instance, I actually knew somebody that we were sitting around last Christmas, and they got on their phone and said, "Hey, make a song in this style with my voice," and blah, blah, blah. And right then and there was a song written by AI, played everything. And it sounded just like them singing.
Okay. Let's jump down the AI rabbit hole.
Right.
I have bands that send me music and I'm like, wow, great. And he's like, well, it's really not a girl singer. It's her voice. It is an actual human being, but we can make her sing in different, screaming good, whatever. And then it's like, is that AI? Is that using someone's real voice? He writes all the lyrics, he writes the parts that he wants, and then has AI do it. Is that, what do you think about that?
I don't like it at all. I mean, because it goes back to remember how many people caught such big flack and everything like that? Like, let's go back to Milli Vanilli.
But they lied and said they did it, and it was actually people singing.
Right. They lied, and that should have never been done. And then people came out with, after that, they started using auto-tune.
True.
I mean, are you really a singer if you're using auto-tune? Because technically that's not your voice.
Are you a band if you use a drum machine?
Well, in that opinion, I have a different opinion on different things, because sometimes you can use a drum machine to add different
as a practice.
Yeah, if you have a live drum set going and you want to add electronic drums to like add an effect, that's cool. But I think there should actually be a live drummer. But then again, we have to look at rap where they don't have a full band.
Right.
So I understand them using drum machines and everything. That is completely, I think it all depends on the type of music and style of music that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? To where it is acceptable. If it's just you up there as a rapper with just a DJ behind you, then yeah, go ahead, use your drum machine, do whatever you got to do, because you're still designing that music, or you're using somebody's music, and as long as you have permission, of course, to do that. But at least you're doing it yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed. But back in the day when they first had what are the tuning, auto tune or guitar, where you could change a guitar tone and all that, and then when that came out, people are like, wait, you're using computer. You're basically you're using an app to make your guitars sound this way, to echo, to do all that. And then at that time, it was, oh my God, that's not real. You know what I mean? You're using a drum machine, you're using electronic stuff. It's not real. And then now it's completely made up by AI, and we can't even tell the difference.
Right. But it's just like the same, but back in the day, like we were saying, you were just saying, we used to change our sounds through this, that, and the other. I mean, that went all the way back to the 1960s when Jimi Hendrix used the first fuzz tone pedal.
Agreed.
Or I forgot, the Kinks. He
broke it open or stabbed.
He took a razor blade and started slicing his speaker to get that distortion sound.
Right.
So we've always been chasing that certain sound, and sometimes you have to rely on electronics to go back to that to get that sound. I understand that, but in the long run, there's somebody behind that actually playing the note.
Agreed.
So I appreciate that. When you get to where you just type in on a computer, say, "Hey, play a G chord on a guitar," I don't agree with that.
Right.
But like I said, that's my opinion. Other people, that's great. Like, I've seen people that do a one-man show. They'll start on a loop.
Right.
And they'll
with
play
the guitar,
a
with the lead, with the rhythm, and then they jump in and play it all. Now,
yeah,
that is their own talent being progressed by technology.
right. Which I love that. But now, if they were to just go on the computer, say, play this note with a guitar, play this, and they let the computer do all that, I think that's kind of cheating.
I agree.
Because they're letting the computer actually play the instrument. But now, if they're playing the instrument, they're actually showing that they have the knowledge that they can do this.
Right, that they can actually play an instrument, and then
right, and they deserve to be where they're at.
There you go.
It comes down to paying your dues, and do you want, and then we open up another rabbit hole. Or is it worth being a one-hit wonder, or you want longevity? I remember when I first wanted to be in bands, I want people to ask you, who do you want to be like? Who's your biggest influences? And I'm like, I want to be like the Rolling Stones. I want to be like Kiss. It's been around for years and years and years. And up until I was in high school, I had never really even heard the term one-hit wonder, which is kind of funny if you look at it, because technically Jimi Hendrix was a one-hit wonder. Because he only had one song.
Purple Haze.
No, actually, he only had one song that ever made it into the top 10, and that was "Hey Joe."
Oh, I did not know. I did not know that.
That's the only one of his songs that ever made it into the top 10 when he was alive.
Okay, now check this out. Here's a rabbit hole for you. The one-hit wonders were one-hit wonders because they didn't sign the deal with the devil.
No, they signed the deal with the record contract, and they just promoted it.
No, I'm just saying that they say when you sign a record deal that you're signing with the devil. So I'm saying maybe they didn't. Right.
I agree with you. I thought you were talking Robert Johnson himself,
Oh.
Let's go down to the crossroads and I'll let him tune my guitar. I would have gladly done that, trust me.
Really?
Yeah, I actually would have.
I would not have. I would hope to think I would not have.
Well, I think I would have tried and then tried to get my way out of the contract.
Sign the contract and go, okay, let me get all this, and then I don't want the contract.
No, I'll be like, all right, I'll sign the contract, and then later on when he comes to get my soul, I'm like, well, here's my lawyer. He needs to talk to you about this. Like it's supposed to be done.
That's right. That is right. All right, Rob, I want to thank you for the first episode of The Rabbit Hole. I mean, we have so many things that we can talk about, that we can explore, and that we can bring to the audience. I think maybe we might bring a band or something in and maybe play some music. We could do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah, and if everybody comes and follows us on Facebook or subscribes to our channel, our Facebook channel, The Rabbit Hole, you can put up suggestions for our topics, and we can talk about whatever you guys want to hear. There's nothing and everything is willing to be talked about. Some days we'll just talk about whatever we feel like, and other days we'll be serious, and other days we won't. True. Which is the great thing about the rabbit hole, because you never know what we're going to go down.
You never know what you're going to get. All right, Rob Cardosi. My name is Scott Reece. This is The Rabbit Hole. Join us next week for another show. We're going to jump down a rabbit hole, and you just don't know what it's going to be.
Look forward to talking to y'all next week, and y'all have a great one.
Peace out.
Are we on? Good. Right, so I don't have much time. This message is being looped on all temporal frequencies. If you can hear this, the world is lost. Humanity is dwindling and we are the last of our kind. We ignored the signs. It started off so slow, but gradually the machines started becoming more and more like us until it was too late. Keep this warning. Don't let them in. Don't listen to them.